Game 2 is ready to begin between Empire Gaming and UKN Nekospresso. And if it's anything like the first match here in the quarterfinals, it should be a doozy. Once again, I am one of your broadcasters for today, Corrupted, and I am joined here by Zeus. An absolutely incredible time was had by all as F5 Esports took down Hakiki Mori in a 2-1 win. And now getting ready for game 2. Absolutely ready to get this game underway. How are we feeling, Zeus? I think you're muted currently in Discord, Zeus.
I certainly was. That is completely my fault. I'm gonna have to say my ramble again. I'm incredibly excited for this match. I think these are the two best teams in the tournament I've seen. And honestly, this is going to be a colossal match, in my opinion. Starting on Hell's Haven, a map we've seen almost every team choose, and it's so fun to play on. It is really liked by professional players in organized play, and who can blame them? Honestly, it's so cool.
It's truly fantastic to see this map back in here. We had a great performance from F5 and Hakiki Mori, and now we're going to see what Empire Nekospresso could do. Both these teams very established in Marvel Rivals, like you said, two of the strongest teams currently in this tournament. Nekospresso sitting 2-2 after the preliminaries. Empire sitting 3-1. So excited to see what we're gonna get here. What do you think this ban and save phase is gonna be?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, seeing Warmage here, he's top 32, or at least at one point was, and that's not easy to do. That shows a real level of skill and talent from these players, and just how competitive this lobby really is. We're seeing the coaches down at the bottom there with Estrella and Nico play Nick for Nekospresso, and then Mikaid and Nocte for Empire. And honestly, I'm really pumped for this.
Yeah, and I mean,
honest.
looking at some of these player statistics here, I mean, things that stand out for me: Foley, Yakor, and Irresistible. I don't know if Irresistible is playing in this game, but I believe Yakor is, and Foley sitting at 170 kills, 159 for Irresistible. Yakor hasn't played in as many games, only 6 out of the 8 played for him, but 123 kills. I mean, these guys are on some sort of rampage here, but incredible stuff from them to be able to play. It seems like they've got a pretty big roster, so a lot of experience and a lot of talent to pull from. Meanwhile, on the side of Nekospresso, things looking really good. A lot of kills spread out here. Jurassic and Tulip, 163 and 122 kills for them each respectively. Felicity and Puppy Cake sitting at 155 and 136. So when you've got 4 members of your team above 125 kills, I mean, it's a really dangerous team to go up against. Both teams look to be fairly aggressive, and they like to spread the love between all 6 of their team members.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. They're almost democratizing the damage there. And looking at Irresistible's playtime this season, he's played a lot of Venom and a lot of Emma Frost. And honestly, Venom's really fun to watch. And we've seen the combination of Venom with a dive DPS. And the dive DPS in this game are so strong right now that it's just able to mess up entire backlines because you overwhelm them with so much damage and coming from so many angles at once. It worked wonders for both teams last game, and so it'll be interesting to see if these two teams can replicate that effect here.
Yeah, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how these two teams play against one another. And we've got 3 incredible maps to play them on. As soon as I find...
I believe we are starting on Hell's Haven, then going to Symbiotic Surface next. A map with quite a lot of open spaces, so quite good for poke, and that's going to be really interesting to see how the teams formulate around that We appear to be having some disconnections, so we are just going to wait for that, for those players to rejoin before we get into the fight, or into the match here. And honestly, really excited, really pumped. I mean,
I'm really
Symbiotic Surface is one of the most interesting maps in this game.
Yeah, it's a lot of verticality. It's a lot of close quarters. I think it's got all the best of every map that we've seen in these games. But again, that third map of the evening, if we get to it for Empire versus Nekospresso, that would be Midtown. And that's not a map we've seen a whole lot of in the preliminaries. In the end, I mean, we didn't really get to a lot of match threes in the preliminaries, but it would be an amazing thing to see Midtown back in. Now it's time for those banned and save phase. So we got 3 bans on either side, 3 saves on either side as well. And I'm really interested to see how things will look different. But off the rip, Empire pretty much replicating Hakiki Mori's first ban of the Human Torch. Meanwhile, Captain America taken off the board. An interesting pick there. I think it's for Jurassic in getting Iron Man in the save. You're trying to build up a Hulk comp here, and will they be able to with the second ban?
I mean, honestly, it all comes down to that, but the second save is on Groot. That's a really interesting choice. We saw Groot banned a lot last match, and understandable why. He's really good. And then the Loki ban, trying to stop, and we already see Kaiser has chosen Loki. That's clearly put a wrench in Nekospresso's plans there, but the ban on Iron Fist, honestly, I completely understand. You do not want to be playing into an Iron Fist as Iron Man. Weirdly, although you can fly, Iron Fist can jump higher, and he's just going to chase you down.
Yeah, it feels like both these teams kind of fearing the dive against one another. Obviously, with that Iron Fist taken out and the Captain America, and allowing for this Hela save. Now, here's the really interesting thing. What will we see with these final 2 bans? I think there's a lot of different ways that you could go with it. But if Empire is going for this kind of dive or support strategist type comp, so they'll get rid of triple strategist here. They'll leave the door open for triple Vanguard, but excited to see how that plays in. And just like that, it's, I believe, yeah, it's 2 strategist bans. Yeah, it's 2 duelist. Sorry, 3 strategist bans, 2 duelist bans, and 1 Vanguard. But again, that Groot at insta-lock on either side, especially on a map like Hell's Heaven, it's one that is used constantly between these 2 teams in order to create walls and to create different ways to kind of manipulate the map into your way. Hela will be swapped for Iron Man on either side of the playing field, though, yeah, sorry, Neko will be using Hela.
Cohen interestingly going Hawkeye. We've not seen a ton of Hawkeye in this tournament, but in organized oh no, he swapped to Winter Soldier. That is completely understandable. Winter Soldier is really, really good right now in the current meta, with those 2 orbs able to fire out, able to slow down the enemy team so much and be such an oppressive force. And I mean, the Thor choice is really interesting as well. We've not seen a ton of Thor, but he's able to output a lot of damage. Interestingly, Nekospresso going with a Hulk pick, but not a Namor. And I understand why. I mean, Hela's better without the team-up ability. And, like, she's just so reliable and consistent. And I think Namor's definitely worse now with the different team-up.
Yeah. Well, both teams will be running the Hela now. Runehart used that Jeff the Landshark tech in order to bring his team out. I believe the same thing was done by Kaiser for Nekospresso. They're the first to drop. There goes Empire as well. But Yakor using that Wolverine, he'll jump off the map trying to take Groot with him, not able to on that occasion. And Empire already down to Nekospresso as they're going to try to make do. Meanwhile, just like that, Felicity and Jurassic with 2. Irresistible, able to come back into this match. But so far, using that Gamma to their advantage with Jurassic and Timeout.
I mean, yeah, the rocket mirror is really interesting here, but it's almost forced when Loki and Adam Warlock have both been banned. Those are the supports with the most utility, aside from Rocket. And utility is quite important in this game. There's a lot of supports that are more numbers-based, like Luna Snow, like Invisible Woman, and they are brilliant to have on your team. But utility, just the utility of something like those reses is just so nice to have on your team, and
just like that,
in a weird way.
And Jurassic trying to use his ult, but a little too close to the Emma Frost of Irresistible. He'll get knocked out of the ult mid, so he's not able to get the blast off. Empire on point as Amplifier now comes out. That's the only ultimate available on either side, so both Rockets will use it. And just like that, Yakor able to grab one for Empire, but Nekospresso at more than 50%, trying to burst out all that they can. Jurassic able to grab one with his ult.
Timu's trying to juggle Rocket there, but in the support, in that invisible boundary, isn't able to find much value, except from a Wolverine who is fully healed during that World Breaker, and it's not going to find much damage or even a kill.
Well, Timeout trying to sit on point for as long as possible. He'll help his team get to 80% on their first hold. Now, that's really important. If we were at 99%, it would put Nekospresso at a worse position, but at 80%, if they take a team fight and take control early, they might not even need overtime to be triggered by Empire, which of course Empire won't want. But again, they worked really well in that team fight to grab a couple of picks here and there. It wasn't like we're gonna get 3 kills at the same time. It was, we'll chip away at Nekospresso. And now Nekospresso trying to get back into things using the dive comp with Timeout in the front. He'll look at point for a second, not looking at it for a second. But Tyrell able to grab out Foley as Yakor takes out Felicity. Timeout takes out Runeheart though, as Empire trying to hold on to point for as long as humanly possible. Jurassic still airborne. We'll see ultimates all over the place.
Yakor really focusing through this fight, killing him twice. Honestly, brilliant play both times, able to just catch him off guard and grab him. But we're going to see Not almost being taken down here with that Venom and that Helleralt managing to get those final kills and end that fight. This is now 63% from Empire and 80% from Nekospresso. This is going to be really interesting as we're potentially drawing into the last 1 or 2 fights of this game here.
Yeah, and that ult economy is going to be really important here. Almost 4 ultimates available to Nekospresso. Empire only with 1. That's going to be Runeheart's. So it gives a lot of good survivability to Empire. But what can they do beyond that? And they're going to try to get an early pick, but Timeout makes his way out of there. As at 89% now, Neko's got to make that drop quickly. They've got 1 on point, and that first ultimate's going to be used.
And
as we'll see exactly what both these teams can do.
Oh, the maximum boost goes out and manages to find a kill on Invisible Woman, Irresistible, but it's not going to get more than that. Like, using an ult to get a trade is never worth it, in my opinion, or very rarely. But you're trying to find Hulk off this map, going to use World Breaker from Timu's, almost killing him, I think, but no, he's going to stay full health.
Yeah, well, Tyrell and Felicity able to grab a couple of essential kills on the back line now. Now, I think it's important. The only ultimate available is Warmage's. He's got his on the Rocket Raccoon, 90% for Koan on that Garut as well. But Neko's got nothing in the tank. Their closest ultimate is Tyrell, but beyond that, Kaiser might be close, but he's the first target for Foe. So just like that, the one target you wanted to keep up won't be there for Nekospresso. Tyrell forced to ult on point almost immediately there and immediately taken out of it. So 99-99, who's going to take this final fight? As both teams will try to get ult charge.
We see Yakor going for really aggressive and hopeful plays here. He is a real playmaker. And, I mean, it's worked sometimes, but it certainly did not work there. Timu's just staying on point, trying to contest as long as he can. Both teams at 99% with a slither of overtime. And the point is in Empire's favor. This is going to be so close, but Nekospresso just managing to gain a little bit of progress at a time, and they are going to cap Now overtime is reset. This is such a close match now.
And we will not see Empire be able to make a touch here. So map 1 will go to Nekospresso here. Now, the thing that I really like here, we saw Jurassic and Ant as well. They both kept their ultimates there. They could have used those to win that fight. It was a little up in the air when both of them got access to their ultimates, whether or not Neko could win that fight. I didn't think Neko could win that fight. Empire with a couple of quick kills to get things started, but Nekospresso really dug deep, and able to grab the kills that they needed. Now they've got the ult economy a little bit on their side. Irresistible and Runeheart at 95 and 98% respectively. So we'll see what they can do to get their ult charged quickly. But with Jurassic and Aunt Nancy having their ult, gives a lot of survivability. And if you run that off angle correctly on Jurassic the way that he has been so far, you get into good little ult off, grab a couple of good kills, and just like that, Neko's got point to start off map 2.
I mean, yeah, honestly, this is really interesting. I genuinely thought that last match, or that first point, was the end of the game. It was so intense and so long, and it's just a testament to the incredible performance from these two teams here. Yakor going on that Punisher, clearly trying to counter Iron Man with that rocket team up.
Yeah, and looking at the stat lines right now, Empire, not a lot of kills on the board. Yakor with 10 really leads the pack, with the rest sitting around near 5 or 6 or 2. But what they made up for it is when they win those team fights. Meanwhile, the fight initiating on point, but Hulk of timeout will fall. Irresistible, able to grab one, Felicity with 2, and the game shifted back into Nekospresso's hands. They used 2 ults there to get the win. And Nancy, timeout, and Tyrell will all have their ultimates available going into the second team fight. Runeheart and Irresistible get theirs. Warmage will be their third.
And I mean, we really saw Jurassic there, waiting and just hiding from that Punisher for so long. He knew his time was going to come. He just had to wait and hide, because that Punisher is no joke with his damage. Although, as soon as they ignored him, as soon as they forgot about his presence, he was able to peek, get that ult off with that combo with Groot, and it wasn't blocked by Emma Frost Shield or by a Groot wall. Honestly,
and the ultimates. Yeah, and the ultimates kind of trading themselves off like you were talking about. Yakor, Warmage combined for 2. Timeout trying to get some damage in there, but not able to. 42% as Timeout forced to use his, but one that he's going to want to use. Meanwhile, Koman trying to use his. And again, Jurassic with another pulse charge, able to take out Warmage. The trade there goes to Foey. Jurassic back in, and so immediately use Gamma. And again, these two teams, neither of them wanting to give up point. 61% as Nekospresso has grown 40% in this team fight alone, as they've been able to stick a player on point throughout this entire team fight. Timeout will fall, but Jurassic with the trade, with some quick revenge as well, trying to keep point in their hands. It's two strategists and a duelist trying to keep things under cap now, as Nekospresso with another 80% first hold here.
They cannot be getting away with this. They managed to hold for another 20% after both tanks were dead. Honestly, incredible gameplay from Nekospresso there. But Empire do manage to cap the point, and they are now gaining progress slowly. But it only takes one fight for Nekospresso to win this point and game here.
I think we both lost. I think we both lost a little bit of track of time there. I don't know if Neko was at 40% or 60% when the fight started. No matter what, they held for, it was an extra 20% on top of another 20% of hold from this team, and it's just been incredible. And they've got 5 ults charged going into this fight.
Yeah, and we're going to see Jurassic hiding up top, trying to find a moment to appear with that Bruto on the backline, and the maximum pulse combo getting it.
Okay! What an absolute sniper of a shot into the Invisible Woman ultimate. He knew that they would be there, but how many was just up to him? 89% now is Nekospresso absolutely dominating this one at the hands of Jurassic.
And the only chance Empire have here is the Strange Portal at the last second, 99%. for Nekospresso here. And Groot is already low and gets killed by Timu's.
Tyrell able to get in there. He'll take out Yakor. Timeout with Irresistible. And Nekospresso just cleaning things up on point now, as it's just a formality. Overtime will be completed. What a game from Nekospresso. What a game for Jurassic. Wasn't as pivotal in game one, kind of came out of his shell towards the end. But after that, domination from start to finish.
And I mean, honestly, that was an incredible game from Nekospresso there. It's often the case in organized play that the first game is really convincing for one team, and it looks like it's just going to be an unfair runaway lead. But so often does the other team bring it around with those picks and bans and those composition and those strategy changes that just have so much of a lasting impact. And looking at the stats here, Jurassic with 19 final hits and 4 deaths. Honestly, an insane KDA.
It's a stat line that, you know, I assume Jurassic will look back at in like a week or two when this thing is done and dusted and go, that was a pretty good map for me. 32 kills overall for him, able to realistically just run the server on map 2. You know, we noticed his first ultimate on map 2, and I went back to him maybe 10 to 15 seconds later to be like, oh, what's Jurassic up to? Because he's been looking really good. He was already 50% of the way to his ultimate, maybe 30 seconds later. He charged it incredibly fast and looked fantastic.
And I mean, that's just what you get in high-level organized play like this. And to be fair, Warmage was not doing bad on Wolverine either. He was constantly pestering and killing tanks, which is the job of Wolverine. But he was so good and reliable at it, and really making those plays so frequently. It's just beautiful to see, in my opinion. However, we are now going on to Clintar's Symbiotic Surface, which is a map I'm pumped for.
I'm pumped for this map for I think 2 major reasons. And I think the first one is the map itself. We talked about this before, just before game 1, but Clintar, it's got everything. It's got, you know, the first point has got everything vertical wise. It's got choke points galore, as well as open space on the point itself. It gives so much to the strategy that these two teams can do. I think the other part of this that I am more than excited about is this ban and save phase, because I already know that Hulk is going to be one of these bans, because there's no way that Empire wants to see that Iron Man even close to end the game. This next one, seeing how Jurassic utilized him. And I'm so excited to see how Nekospresso will kind of adapt to that, because it really looked incredible between both these teams. And I'm wondering what these bans and picks are going to be in order to try to bring things back into Empire's favor. How will Empire, or how will Neko play things in order to continue to have favor here? What are they going to use?
I mean, yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think the instant Johnny Storm ban, it does make perfect sense. He is a tyrant in this game currently. He's so good at dealing burst damage, and since the buff to his primary fire, he can melt a lot of people, and that save from Nekospresso on Iron Man makes complete sense. Jurassic was just able to, as you said, run the lobby there, and I mean, it's so difficult for Empire to fight against. But the alternative is honestly so much worse with Johnny Storm. The choice to save Groot there, I think, makes a lot of sense. They clearly... Yeah. Groot was working for Empire there for a reasonable length of time, and they clearly want to play with that, which is quite interesting. And we're going to see the 3rd hero ban here on Invisible Woman, clearly not wanting to play into those boops and that invisible boundary.
You know, that's going to be the real kicker here, is if Nekospresso can get away with the Gamma, if they can get away with Hulk Iron Man here, I think that's going to be a real victory for them, especially if they don't have to go ahead and save the Hulk here. I'd be really surprised if Empire didn't choose Hulk as their 3rd ban, especially after the way that I believe it was Timeout was playing him, and just beautifully so. But now we see Loki will be the protect. Are we think we're looking for a triple strategist here, or do you think just saving that Loki's been so powerful before?
I mean, I think triple strategist is all dependent on whether or not Adam is banned, and I don't think Empire are going to be the ones to do it. They just saved Star-Lord, and he's such a good character with Adam because he gets that second revive. However, I think if Nekospresso see that here and choose to ban Adam, they could have a real strong advantage here because they're able to choose that Loki, who they're more confident in playing with, and the Jeff ban is shocking to me. I'm almost certain that's a misclick.
It feels like it probably was. I can only assume here that was the issue, but again, Nekospresso free to play some Gamma, though it's not looking like they're going to play it as of yet. They might be waiting to play it on the offensive end to play a little bit more of a dive type comp, but they'll keep Jurassic in on Iron Man. Meanwhile, Felicity on the Magneto, I like for this map, especially with that backline of Terrell and Kaiser.
Yeah, and we see Empire clearly toying with the idea of running Mantis Adam, but ultimately deciding to go Loki Luna, which is mirrored by Nekospresso, and honestly, I think the right choice. It's interesting deviation in comps here, DPS and tank-wise, both teams having a Magneto player, which makes so much sense on a map like this, with such long open areas that allow so much for long-range characters to deal damage. But it's going to be interesting how it turns out. And the instant breaking on that wall there from Nekospresso, clearly not wanting to give the attackers that space.
I'm excited to see this air-to-air combat between Jurassic on the Iron Man and Yakor on the Star-Lord. Yakor has looked great on that Star-Lord before, and Jurassic, of course, last map looking incredible on Iron Man.
Yeah, and we're going to see that Magneto bubble with the E ability to deal a lot of damage to that backline, charging up his ult 25%. Probably not as much as he wanted to initially, and Jurassic's just going to find that side angle to pester Empire from.
Yeah, nearly 63% of the way charged to his ultimate there. And that's all with poke damage. He's not going for the kills. He's not going for the glory. He knows exactly where to push here. And they keep that Groot incredibly staggered as he's attempting to make his way out. They'll finally take him out with a minute already gone from this matchup. It's excellent stuff from Nekospresso here. Remember, they've got all the advantages. They've won map 1. So as this next volley of shots go between one another, we'll see what they can do. Jurassic at 85% of his ultimate. He is the clear favorite to get his ultimate first in this lobby, which is insane, especially when you have two Lokis both sitting at like 85%. Jurassic will get his ultimate before all of them, which is an absolutely insane thing to see and to be a part of as he looks for those choke points.
I mean, I personally think this is just going to be a waiting game for Jurassic, waiting out those walls, that Magneto shield, and Loki's Undying Totem. And Undying Totem has already been used, but the choice to go Lunar Snow is going to give Empire free Lunar Snow there.
And here comes Jurassic.
Enough for Bowie to live through.
Time for some fireworks.
And there's just a great advantage here with Nekospresso as they take this fight away from Empire. I believe they only killed 2 there, the rest of the team trying to kite their way out. But looking for a couple of extra picks here. Both teams are in. Aunt Nancy forced to use her ultimate as Jurassic gets another pick. Terrell as well. So the fight almost looked to flip a little bit to Empire, but now Neko again on the offensive with 4 ultimates available to Empire, though. What can they do going into this next team fight in order to try to secure this point and grab a 2.5 minute boost to their time?
I mean, yeah, honestly, an incredible hold from Nekospresso here. Already at 1 minute and 14 seconds, and I don't think they've even I don't think they've even got a slither on the point yet. They've only contested, and that's got to be rough on Empire's morale here. But they do have 4 ults going into 3 from Nekospresso, and so it'll be interesting to see how they use that and how they play around this with the early popping of Hella's ult from not Tyro. It's not going to find much value, but it is going to stall just that little bit more.
Yeah, and Kaiser using his ult to go in on that Luna Snow, waiting till the absolute last second to use the ultimate granted to him there. Felicity able to grab a pick on Foey though, as Runeheart next to fall for Empire, and the dominoes fall. The Empire crumbles with the last 22 seconds on the clock as Neko takes some dominant holds here. Empire will have one more team fight in the last 13 seconds as they will open things up in that strange portal.
I mean, strange portals, great idea. Not Tyro managing to get a very early pick on your core. This is not looking good for Empire here. But they're managing to hold on point.
Yeah, Runeheart keeping Empire's game alive as they push on that point. We'll see another ult out now by Felicity as he's not able to take anyone out. Jurassic will get Warbage, but that's traded with Yakor. So Empire trying to dig their heels in here, but Jurassic able to grab 2. The rest kind of pushing through. Jurassic will grab another. As we'll see the Hella ultimate from Foey. Jurassic with another, and that is going to be it. They're not even able to grab that first click off of point. So 33% is all that Neko needs to advance to the semifinals.
I mean, worst case scenario for Nekospresso here from this game, they just have to play the next one, and then Empire still have to win 2 more because they can only draw here, and we might even see a strange from Nekospresso here instantly just to make it quicker. I don't think we are going to. We are going to see Hulk on attack now, giving Jurassic even more damage. I don't think he needs it, but he's sure gonna use it. I don't see why he wouldn't. And
yeah,
honestly, that Hulk comp is so fast, able to dive in and out. You caught interestingly going Moon Knight. I expect these DPS are going to switch off, but it'll be interesting if they don't. And Foey's gone.
Yakor's out of spot. Yakor is using Moon Knight on this defensive end. And honestly, they're very out there as picks, but I enjoy them because you've got to, when you're down like this, it's 30% a point. It's 4 minutes against a team that has really held you. And it's a lot to keep track of, and it can really weigh on your mental state. So to play characters that these guys might be a little bit more comfortable with and just say whatever happens, happens, I think it's a nice move. Now we'll see what Jurassic and the rest of Nekospresso can do as they try to finish off their evening quickly.
And I mean, they're clearly trying to look for ways to innovate because what they're doing currently isn't working. So who can blame them? Because if they continue with the same strategy, they're just going to lose again. And I mean, trying to find early damage on that Loki, but oh, Conan walling off his own teammates, and that's not going to be fun for Empire there.
Yeah, and it's just these little mistakes that keep on adding up for Empire Gaming. You know, they've looked fairly good as Irresistible grabs the first kill, so allowing at least a little bit of extra time for Empire here. But Jurassic able to grab his first pick. Meanwhile, we'll see Moon Knight trying to charge his ult up quickly. He's at more than 60%. Jurassic at north of 75%. Felicity able to grab one. Kaiser will open things up as well. There's not much more to do on point here for Nekospresso.
He's just punching both tanks here, but Runeheart popping that Fate of Both Worlds, trying to hold as long as they can, but does not save Conan. And the strength portal is going to be coming in from Nekospresso Empire here.
Well, it's all that they can do at this point to try to defend point. Kaiser using his ult, and Nancy ready with theirs though, as Jurassic on the board again with a double kill. Without a portal, without much more damage to be given, and no ults in sight. Nekospresso trying to get point clear. They will be able to do it as soon as they take down this Groot. Nobody else is going to be able to touch. Nekospresso, in under 30 minutes, has punched their way into the semifinals. Excellent work by them. They did it in 2 minutes flat.
I mean, yeah, that was honestly incredible. Like, genuinely, that first point can be so difficult to attack, as proved by Nekospresso at the start there. But they were able to do it on that second round of that second game, winning that match. They are now the second team into the quarterfinals here. I believe we have 2 more matches coming up today between Calamity Nightfall, Quantum, and then
that's going to be Cafe Noir and Project EXR. That will be our other game.
Yes.
I'm looking at the stat lines here, and my jaw just kind of hit the ground. Nekospresso, nobody less than 11 kills, did not allow more than 4 kills from any one member of this Empire Gaming team. Absolutely incredible stuff from them, just to dominate this match.
Just looking at the deaths, it's almost comedic. There are 5 deaths in total on Nekospresso's end here. So that is going to be 3 for not Tyrell, and then 1 for Jurassic and 1 for Kaiser. And with how aggressive Jurassic was playing into poke DPS as Iron Man, it's honestly a wonder how they did so well. This is an incredible player with an incredible team, and you can't really target ban him, because if you ban Iron Man, he just plays Johnny Storm, and if you ban Johnny Storm, he just plays Iron Man.
Yeah, it's a tale between, you know, there's so much other great talent on this team as well that I kind of want to highlight here. Timeout, Felicity as a Vanguard duo has looked incredible as well. And of course, you got Kaiser and Aunt Nancy sitting in that strategist role. And then, of course, not Tyrell. All of them playing their parts beautifully. And that's what makes a team like Nekospresso so dangerous to go up against, because if you target ban and use your 3 bans to take care of all of Jurassic, well, then you're leaving Felicity and Timeout open, or you're leaving Aunt Nancy and Kaiser open for whatever they want to play, or Tyrell open for whatever they want to play. So it becomes, you know, how do we partially ban one person and partially ban another while not taking a lot out of our own lineup? And I think Empire really tried to do that by, you know, that initial ban on the Human Torch and their strategist type bans and things like that, to try to take away a lot of that utility that Jurassic would rely on. But in the end, there's just no stopping that pulse. And as we get ready for our interview, I'm just so excited to talk to this Nekospresso team and to hear what they have to say after that victory.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that that game's got me feeling drained. I need an espresso. But brilliant Marvel Rivals gameplay there from both teams, but Nekospresso especially. I just feel like they had that matchup against EMP solved from the beginning there, and it really shows through how they were able to dominate that match so far.
And I think the best part here, right before we go to break, this is our first upset. Nekospresso came into this one 2-2, Empire 3-1. We're gonna cut to a quick break. When we get back, we could talk to Nekospresso about what made their game so good.
Bye.
Alrighty, and welcome back. I am joined here by Vanguard for Nekospresso Felicity and two-time MVP during this game, a duelist for Nekospresso, Iron Man of the century in the past two games, Jurassic. An absolutely incredible win for the both of you. How are you guys feeling after that one?
I'm feeling very excited. I don't know about Jurassic, but he can obviously.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good about that, honestly. We got to do a bunch of new stuff. It worked out well.
I mean, that was an incredible game there. Your movement, Jurassic, is honestly brilliant. You're able to just dodge those hit scan shots so well. It's awe-inspiring. And I mean, what's your idea going in with picks and bans there? Are you playing for yourselves or are you playing to counter the enemy team?
Well, we did a little bit of research on what they played, and that's kind of what was leading into our bans there. And then we also had some metagame strats that were the enemy may or may not have been falling for, with saves and whatnot.
Wow. So, I mean, it was absolutely incredible stuff. Not much to really talk about between these two games. You guys cleaned up things really well, played really well. But there's a couple of key moments that I kind of want to touch on. You know, Jurassic, I believe you and your two strategists were on point. It was 20% a point that you guys held by yourselves. What is it like to communicate with your strategist in that moment to ensure that you guys are moving around point well, getting in some good damage, but also not falling and not giving up point before the rest of your team gets back?
Our play there, it was we were kind of 50-50 between whether or not it was a winnable or we were just going to stall it. So we were just kind of playing the stall for a while, and all we were doing there was I was just kind of sitting up in the middle of Narnia and having like 3 of them look at me or something, but like I wasn't really peeking too much. So they weren't looking at my supports, so they were able to actually live and heal each other and contest for quite a while there, so that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you gained like 40% that fight, which is just brilliant. How you guys are now in the quarterfinals, I believe, or semifinals even. How are you thinking about your chances going forward? Do you think you could win this tournament?
Yes, I'm very confident with the current team that we have developed and the team play that we've worked on with the scrims that we've been playing over the past few weeks. Yeah, I think we're pretty much ready to win it all.
That is absolutely fantastic, and it really helps. You guys have a lot of plays to show for it. And Jurassic, you had one of them. Again, going back to that map 1 moment, you blind fired into an Invisible Woman ultimate and came out with a 4K. You know, what's the thought process there, and how do you react in that moment with your team to kind of enjoy it, but to keep yourselves locked in?
Well, I can't take full credit for that. That was mostly my goat, Felicity. I believe he was the one on Groot there. So yeah, we went for the Groot ult. We were looking for the nuke Groot combo, but then they popped in Viz ult, which was kind of unfortunate because it just made it a little bit more difficult to hit. So what we did there is I kind of just listened to their footsteps, and based on where most of the footsteps were, I nuked not quite on it. Ideally, I was trying to go to the side because I did have the Emma, so I didn't know if she was gonna. I assumed she was gonna try to shoot the shield straight at me main, so that's why I went to the side a little bit, and it seemed to work out there.
I mean, we did see the Emma shield there, but it didn't quite make contact, so it clearly worked.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible stuff. I mean, you guys have played beautifully. Now, you know, you're in the semifinals matchup tomorrow, and that matchup is set. It's you guys versus F5 Esports for a chance to go to the finals for that grand prize. You know, what are you guys going to do in the next 24 hours to, you know, calm down from this win and ramp up for tomorrow's match at 4 p.m. or 2 p.m.?
Me personally, I'm gonna go play Persona 3 Reload and then watch some VODs on the side. I don't know. I think they're gonna play the Repo, right, Jurassic?
Yeah, we're gonna do some repo team building, and yeah, honestly, that we're just working our comms there.
I'm
That
really
is-
excited
that-
to play.
Go,
Sorry
go,
about that. I'm really excited to
Go.
play F5 in the next match. Fleeb was actually one of our former teammates on Nekospresso, so I'm really excited to go up against that matchup there.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic. We wish you guys the best. Excited for that matchup again. That will be at 2 p.m. EST tomorrow. F5 Esports versus Nekospresso for a chance to go to the finals. It's going to be a really exciting one. We still got more exciting matches for you tonight. We'll be back at 8 p.m. as Cafe Noir goes up against Project EXR. And then to finish off our night after that, Calamity Nightfall up against Quantum Esports. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this matchup between Empire Gaming, UKN Nekospresso,